There we go. All right, we are live. Hopefully everybody's doing good today. We got some stuff to talk about, some interesting topics to touch on, some different things to go over. So we're just going to wait for everybody to sort of file in. I hope everybody's doing good. Somebody said, I don't know why my message got deleted. I didn't delete any messages. I rarely do. So wasn't me. I hope everybody's doing good today, though. It's been a little bit since I did my last podcast. And my last podcast or my last live stream was actually kind of poor because I was kind of hammered. So, well, I wasn't hammered during the live stream. I was hungover during the live stream, and I had to end it early because I was sick to my stomach. And yeah, fun night. But I'm back. We're here. We're ready to go. Let's get it started. I'm going to run through my little intro real fast. If you guys want to find my work elsewhere, the easiest way you can do that is by going to my Twitter or my Telegram page. Both are in the descriptions on the YouTube channel or on this video on YouTube. If you wanted to support me financially, there's two ways that you guys can do that. All of my work is supported by my audience, you guys, so I really appreciate all of you through super thanks, like somebody just did right here, and I'm going to post this one because I answer all super thanks. What are your thoughts on talks between Russia, Belarus, and peace talks on the Ukraine war? So a little later on, I'm going to answer this when I get done with this intro. But if for everybody who's watching right now, if you have questions that you want asked during the program, you can do it through super thanks. Also, if you want some more content, I have a demonetized series on my Patreon that is restricted content for my Patreon supporters. A little thank you to everybody who supports me financially on Patreon. If you do support me, you can go check out that demonetized series. The first video has been put up. The second video was supposed to get put up this weekend, but I delayed it because there was a Russian missile strike, and I was hoping that we would get some footage from that to use in that video. Unfortunately, it's been about 48 hours and we haven't seen any footage, so I don't think it's coming. I'm going to record that video. I have it all set up and ready to go, and that should be on my Patreon tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. I'll answer this question real fast. What are your thoughts on the peace talks between Russia, Belarus? What are your thoughts on the talks between Russia and Belarus about peace talks on Ukraine war? This is the same thing that Putin has been saying. I'll actually talk about this. This whole talk of peace, right? On Friday or Thursday or Friday, I don't know if I talked about this during my last live stream last week. Putin made a couple of trips. I know I talked about his trip to China, but then after he came back from Beijing, he immediately got on another plane with his full cabinet again, the same group of people that he went to China with, maybe not entirely the same group, but most of them. And then flew to Belarus for another state visit. A lot was probably discussed: the future of, the conflict in Ukraine, the future of Russo-Belarusian relationships, trade relations, stuff like that. They're basically a union state now. So this trip entailed a lot more than just a inaugurational visit by Putin. They probably likely discussed tactical nuclear weapons that have been placed in the country. The new defense minister went. They probably brought some sort of information. They usually do in these sort of meetings. And, it really just seems like everybody is on the same page when it comes to China, Russia, and Belarus. During this whole event, Putin got in front of the press and basically came out and said that Russia is open and willing to negotiate and stop the lines where they are right now in Ukraine and come to the negotiating table and solve what's going on. Right. This has been Russia's position for 2 years now. This is nothing new. This is the same trite line that Putin has been saying the entire war. The issue is Ukraine can't negotiate with Russia. They've made it illegal. So there is no option for the current Russian government to negotiate with the current Ukrainian government. one of two things that has to happen. A regime change has to happen in Russia, or a regime change has to happen in Ukraine. Looking at stability, looking at the way the war is going, I think it's a pretty safe guess. Everybody can kind of agree on this one. Regime change is probably going to come to Ukraine sooner than it comes to Russia. And when that regime change comes, as Putin said actually at this presser, Zelensky's term is up. Zelensky's no longer the president. So any agreements signed with that dictator, now is what he is, will be null and void when the new government, if it's picked by the West, comes in. They'll say, well, Zelensky wasn't really the president anymore. He can't make this agreement. This is a Ukrainian issue, not a Zelensky issue. Or, a new government comes in that is not picked by the West, and then you don't even have to probably have negotiations because they're probably going to be more pro-Russian. I don't know if that actually happens. I'm not saying that that's a legitimate possibility, but no negotiations, guys. This is all just theater. 90% of what you see in this conflict is just theater. A lot of it does not matter. A lot of it is just distractions and, false positives, almost, I would say. There's so much information coming from so many random, unvetted sources that you just have to kind of dull. This is what I do, at least. I sort of dull my senses to everything that I'm reading, everything that I'm taking in, and I look for larger patterns in the bigger picture. Because if you're focused on every little story and every Telegram post, I don't know if anybody's seen David D's page lately. This dude is going off. He's in a death spiral. And I'm just kind of having fun. If you look through the comments, you'll see me just sort of like just degrading every single post he puts up, because he's posting like random Chinese tabloid articles that confirm his bias, random unknown telegrams, Russian telegrams, just like the weirdest stuff. So yeah. There's no peace talks coming, guys. No peace talks coming. Don't get caught up in all of the official statements. A lot of that is just for basically like plausible deniability. Oh, we offered to have negotiations. You can look back, May 20th, when we were in Belarus, we very clearly said that if the Ukrainians came to the negotiating table right now, they could have negotiated. And now you lost Kharkov. And what, you're going to blame us because you didn't come to the negotiating table? No, we gave you fair warning. So that's kind of what's going on here. It's all theater, guys. A lot of it is theater. All right. Okay, let's get into the map a little bit. Hey, if my computer does that thing again today where it's goes black and my screen or my camera shuts off and my mic shuts off, I'm going to come back. But if that happens again, I'm going to put my fist through this computer. So if I'm not back on live streams for a while, that's what happened. I've been test running it. I did it this weekend. I pulled it apart. I tried to figure out what was going on. Could not figure it out. I don't know what it is. So if it happens again, it's going to get bad around here. All right, to the map. Okay, so we have a slight improvement around Ivanivsky for the Russians. This area is just going to slowly get captured. The Ukrainians do not want to give up this hill right here. They're still fighting very hard for it. As soon as they give it up, the whole face of this battle sort of changes. As soon as the line is right on this canal, the entire battlefield here changes. Stepochki becomes the primary target. Konstantinivka is now going to be put under a lot more pressure. When they have this salient right here, it gives them breathing room in these small settlements. It gives them some breathing room around Toretsk. Once this collapses, just like it happened with Wagner, you will begin to see Russian pushes into the Stepochki area. This is a massive high ground right here. This needs to be captured. So this is going to be the goal. You're also going to continue to see Russian pushes like this one here. We put this as an unconfirmed advance because we had a geolocation, but we don't have any solid idea of where Russian positions are. But it does appear that the Russians have crossed the canal here, where the canal is not a water barrier. It goes under tunnels. So the Russians are on this side of the canal operating, and there are reports that they are fighting into these first few houses right here. All right. Moving up here, again, The whole goal, and I said this a couple months ago, is just to level out this front along the canal. That's the goal right now. Once you have the front leveled out across the canal, you have a strong defensive line. Then you can choose where you're going to push. The Ukrainians want to hold this because they don't want to give the Russians that barrier. Basically, the Ukrainians are enjoying controlling the barrier right now. The second they lose it, they're going to get pushed back, and then this first mile or so across the canal basically becomes a gray zone. So the Ukrainians want to avoid that if at all possible. So the Russians have improved their position near Kalinina. Most notably was up through this tree line. So they're trying to approach the town from the north. Again, just trying to meet the canal. This update is older right here, but I just corrected my map. Okay. Moving up to the Kharkov, Luhansk region. Here's Kharkov. You can see the demarcation line right here. Here's Luhansk. The Russians have improved their position into this forested area. A small advance, but it seems like there has been some Russian activation along this eastern Oskol river area right here. So everything east of the Oskol, again, was another area that the Russians are very, very interested in securing that water barrier and beginning to put pressure on Liman again. And then also, directly correlated, applying pressure to the Seversk salient, directly correlated, applying pressure to the entire Kramatorsk-Slavyansk salient, and, New York, Toretsk. You can see how the Russians are starting to put together all of these salients again, like they did with Bakhmut and Soledar, like they did with Avdiivka. They're doing it again. They're doing it in multiple areas. Except this time, the Ukrainians don't have the manpower to throw away in a Bakhmut-style defense. So as soon as the fighting gets into another one of these bigger cities, you can expect the progress to be likely quicker, especially considering the number of forces now wrapped up in the Kharkov region, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Okay, a few further advances. The Russians have completely captured the village of Berestove. This is an important little advance just because of the topography in this region, and I will actually bring that up for you guys. Give me a second. It was the one tab I did not have ready, but I will have it ready very soon. Kharkov, Kupiansk. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go back over to the map. Okay. So here is the northern Kharkov region. Here is Kupiansk right here. Here is the Oskol River Basin. This is where the front line is around here. And you can see that the Russians have pushed in and captured the small town of Berestove, which is hard to find on this map considering, hold on just a second. Yeah, it's north of that. So it's right up here. Berestove is somewhere in this area, I believe. It's like I said, it's hard to state. Maybe right here. Yeah, Berestove right here. So the Russians have moved down and captured this little high ground right here, which tactically I think it's significant in the region. All right. Okay. Another Russian advance into Ivanovka. They have captured the village. Again, just another small Russian advance, but you can see that the Russians didn't advance here for a very, very, very long time until Ukrainian reserves were pulled away and reinforced the Kharkov region, where we have not actually seen much Russian advance as of late. There's still reported fighting in this section of Vovchansk. However, considering there's a river barrier, I think this is just kind of gray zone that the Russians can't necessarily move into, or it has basically been leveled off around the river. We saw the Ukrainians blowing a bridge right right here by Takim, right here. This, let's see, there is a bridge, I believe, right here. Yes, this bridge was blown by the Ukrainians. That video will be on my demonetized series. It's actually pretty cool. It's a 1-minute video showing the Ukrainians planting anti-tank mines and stuff like that on the bridge, gunpowder, and then blowing it. It's kind of a neat video to see the operations on the ground like that. Did you watch that interview where Zelensky said that Russia and the U.S. conspired to allow Russia to invade Ukraine? He is really losing it. Yeah, I don't know what all that's about. Nobody can. I don't think the U.S. and I don't think the U.S. thought that Russia was even going to go in. So yeah, I don't. That's crazy talk. I actually didn't see that. If you could send that to me, that'd be interesting. I haven't seen that. But this is exactly what I talked about, guys. I made a post on Twitter, and I can actually bring it up, where I talked about Ukraine being in a position where they, I thought it was going to take about 7 days for the Ukrainians to bring reserves up to the Kharkov front. It took a little bit longer than that. It took about 2 weeks to really fully stabilize this area and really get a lot of Ukrainian reserves into the region. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dog. He's upset spaghetti about something. Again, we saw a Russian strike in the Kharkov region that hit this hardware store right here. And I did a full cover of that. It will also be in my demonetized series where I go in depth on this strike. This strike did result in the deaths of 12 civilians, but something that people don't seem to realize is that this is basically, if you look at, this is like the last large warehouse industrial facility. I mean, you could say maybe this over here, but I don't know how much you can store in that. These buildings are hard to come by. And you can see that this mall right here has already been struck and damaged, the storage section of this mall right here. So, this is an area that has been regularly used by the Ukrainians. And if you look, I mean, you can see that it's all residential. That's all residential. There's maybe some stuff here, and I'm sure they're probably using these buildings, but you can see a lot of these buildings have been destroyed. And then this, when you're right here, you're starting to get really close to the front. So this is starting to get into drone range. You can't really stage right here. So when you look at the map from the front line, it is about, let's see, where is the spot right here? 13.7 miles. So like 20 kilometers away from the front this is legitimately the last safe staging area that the Ukrainians can use before they exit. Everything in this area coming out of this road right here is likely being watched by the Russians. We've seen vehicles getting hit on this road as they come up here. So this is on the main road, 20 kilometers from the battlefield, from the largest war in Europe in decades. And people are just in there, people are shopping, people are working. It's a normal Saturday or whatever it was. But there's AFU all over this area. There's no way there aren't AFU all over this area because they're stopping this Russian push just to the north. So people are working while 500 kg glide bombs are whizzing around, hitting all sorts of targets in the Kharkov region. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's part of the whole conversation about Russia intentionally targeting civilians. There are arguments, there are collateral damage events. I'm not saying that the Russians are perfect. It's a war. Sometimes bombs drop on the wrong place. Sometimes, you strike an area knowing that there might be some collateral damage, but the target justifies the means. That's all situational, and your bias is involved. I don't necessarily think, like, if you look at the Gaza situation, at what just happened the other day with the refugee camp in Rafah, they struck a refugee camp with precision guided bombs from aircraft. What is it, F-15s or F-35s? They or F-16s. I can't remember what Israel uses primarily over Gaza. They strike this refugee camp because there were gunmen, which is the most, like, They said the same thing about the World Health Kitchen when they intentionally struck all 4 World Health Kitchen vehicles over a couple kilometers. Sorry, people get mad about me using miles. Over a couple kilometers. They said that there was maybe a militant in one of the cars transporting with these World Kitchen individuals, but that's not what happened. They didn't want these people delivering aid. They wanted to send a very clear message to all other aid organizations. Your foreign aid workers are not safe in Israel. That was the message they were sending. And I don't think they were necessarily sending a message with this recent strike. I just think that if there is any opportunity to maybe kill somebody who is maybe related to Hamas in some way, they do not care about the extenuating circumstances, the civilians in the area. The Russians don't do that, and they haven't done it the whole war. And the prime example of what I can point to say that the Russians don't do this is this strike in Kharkov right here. This strike is the pinnacle of what the war in Ukraine looks like and how it affects the Ukrainian people. If you go look at the videos, guys, there's CCTV footage inside of this building, and it's like it's like the Home Depot down my road. There are glide bombs, Iskanders, Lancets flying around, FPVs, all sorts of shit is going on all over the place. And these people are working their 9 to 5s. That's how you know that Russia isn't targeting civilians. You are 20 kilometers away from the largest war in Europe in decades. I mean, this is a industrial large-scale war that covers one of the largest countries in Europe, right? Or is it the largest country in Europe besides Russia? Yeah, I don't know. In terms of overall landmass, I'm not sure, but one of the biggest, right? You have a 1,000-kilometer front line. You have hundreds of thousands of troops on both sides fighting each other. This is a massive industrial scale war, and you have people working in Home Depot right here, right? And the part of this is not just the fact that these people are working here. I mean, I don't expect them to leave. I don't expect them to pack up and move out. That's another form of genocide, right? That's what that is. The intentional displacement of humans by making their lives miserable, like hitting sewer, hitting water, hitting power, taking out all of these things. That really that is a form of genocide. So I'm not saying that these people need to leave, but you are at a certain point you have to take your own life into your own hands. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go to Home Depot and clock in when there's a potential that a glide bomb is going to fall and hit the building, especially because the AFU is 100% operating in this area. This is the main road that goes up to Lipsy and into the Kharkov salient that the Russians have opened. This is literally the main road right here. Why wouldn't you use this building? You would. You would have to. So these civilians are being put in harm's way by the Ukrainian government, also being put in harm's way by Russia. I mean, obviously, people are going to always argue, well, they invaded this, that, and the other. Sure. But when you're hiding behind civilians, that's when the collateral damage starts to happen. That's also what is happening in Gaza, is Hamas is hiding behind the civilians. The difference is Hamas is hiding behind the civilians in a open air prison of 2 million people that is not much bigger than Kharkov. I mean, like legitimately, like the outer reaches of Kharkov is like almost the size of Gaza. And they're dropping JDAMs on these people in their homes. And none of that is happening in Kharkov Kharkov or any other area of the front. The worst thing that has happened in months was this strike. And even this strike, if you looked at the actual strike, one glide bomb hit right here, another glide bomb hit right here. I figure they were probably targeting something in this back area because, I mean, it's a hardware store. It has the means to run a logistics operation just like any large hardware store, any place with any distribution center, anything like that has the means. This strike right here targeted the back side of the building. One glide bomb right here, one glide bomb right here. If you're going to go for civilian casualties, first off, you have endless residential buildings over here. Strike any of these at night and you'll kill 20, 30 people, no problem, right? You could just drop glide bombs on every single one of these, bang, 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 and then get all the people out of here as well, right? You'd scare literally everybody off, or whoever's left would be dead. You could also hit, I think this mall is closed now, but this shopping center, this hyper shopping center right here is open. And all of these are open as well. You hit the biggest, most empty building, if anybody's been in a Home Depot. And yes, civilians died. Horrible, guys, horrible. No innocent should ever be getting killed in the crossfire here. But you're 20 kilometers from the front line. I mean, come on. That's how soft and PG this war is for the Ukrainian population. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Because any other war you've seen in human history there has never been a level of normalcy going on while your country is being invaded like this. So all the talk of genocide and this, that, and the other, they have sewer, they have power, they have internet, they have everything. The Russians haven't hit the nuclear power generation. I mean, I don't mean the actual plant, but, disrupting the ability to distribute that power. They haven't cut off the power lines from Europe so that all the Russians are doing with this energy campaign right now is putting pressure on the Ukrainians, putting more pressure. If they wanted the power out, they would just do 9 of these sorties that you see, these attacks that happen every couple week or 2 weeks or so. They would be doing that every day. The power plants would be getting hit every day. The connections from Europe, that's they're buying power from Europe, those would be hit every single day. That stuff's not happening. So it's definitely you can definitely see the differences in the modum operandi of Russia compared to the United States or Israel in their current engagement. All right. So outside of this Kharkov strike, the Ukrainians have brought a massive amount of reserves up into this area to try to stop this rather small Russian incursion. There is not a large commitment in this area. I actually don't know if the Russians expected it to go this good. I think all they were trying to do was pull reserves. And once they sort of collapsed the defenses right on the border and moved in and got into Volochansk and stuff, that this is the Ukrainian line right here. So the Ukrainians are actually defending their line right here. This is the Russians trying to break through Robitny, basically, is what's going on here. Once the Russians get through Volochansk, if they do, I don't know what the commitment. Again, there are rumors that the Russians have now begun staging troops for an operation in the Sumy region, as well as much more troops in the Belgorod region. I haven't seen the actual physical proof of that. I've only heard rumors and reports. There's also rumors that the Russians have brought helicopters into Belarus, and that happened after their visit. I don't think anything's going to happen with Belarus. I don't think there's any reason that Russia wants to destabilize the situation in Belarus by opening another front or doing anything of the sort. Especially if Ukraine is about to get the go-ahead to strike inside of Russia, they will also get the go-ahead to strike inside of Belarus. And I just don't think the Russians want to really pull Belarus into that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't benefit them really. And you're not going to get a surprise hostile attack. This is the same thing. This actually comes from Ukrainian sources. This is the same thing the Ukrainians always do. They always hype up some Belarusian offensive, some northern offensive, this, that, or the other. The Russians are going to do this. The Russians are going to do that, just to get in the headlines and just to get more aid and support. If the Russians are always about to do something, if they're always about to go on some massive offensive, you're constantly being given more equipment, more stuff to continue the war. So again, that's sort of that noise. You guys are going to hear a lot of rumors, a lot of random reports. You got to just kind of narrow it down, focus on the big patterns, listen for the consistent talking points, and just honestly take bet with the odds is what I have to say. It's super easy. You just go, what is probably going to happen? Not what do I want to happen, not what do I think should happen, what is probably just going to happen based off of what's happening. Like who has more troops? Russia. Is Russia's economy hurting? No. Do they have the means to continue the war? Yes. Does Ukraine? No. Do they have endless men? No. Who's probably going to win? Russia. I mean, that's not even, it's just like take the safe bet in most, analysis and you're going to be right. It gets me questioning the stuff happening in Rafah. How long can Israel be allowed to bomb civilians? I don't like Hamas, but what is the red line? Yeah, this is my exact position. I don't like Hamas. I think Hamas is using the Palestinian people to further their political agenda against Israel. I think that the Palestinian people have the choice between Hamas, who doesn't kill them, and Israel, who does kill them. And I mean, it's not hard for anybody to understand why the Palestinian people choose the people that at least pretend to care about them, because the Israelis don't, and they have nobody to defend them. So you go with the only group there. Also, there haven't really been elections in Gaza since 2006. So to say, that the Palestinian people chose Hamas, it's not. I mean, no, they're either a terrorist organization or the Palestinian people chose them. It's not. It can't be both. They can't be this totalitarian terrorist ISIS-like group, and then also you're like, but they have really fair and just elections. It doesn't pan out like that. So, what is it going to take? It's going to take the Biden administration manning up and saying enough is enough. They have to go against the Israeli lobby. The Israeli lobby is so strong. This is how you see how strong the Israeli lobby is. Even as it's probably costing Biden re-election right now. I mean, at this point, unless he fully condemns and stops the operation in Rafah somehow, I don't think he gets reelected. He has lost so much of his base and so much of the far fanatic left through this whole Israel thing. I just don't. I think that he's done. I don't think that he can get reelected, barring some stupid. I don't know. I don't really have much faith in U.S. elections anymore. So, but I don't see how he can possibly win. The mood of every single human being I talk to, Democrats, Republicans, everybody. I talk to my hippie sister. I talk to my aunt, who is a super hard Dem. Nobody likes Biden. Nobody likes Biden. And I mean, you can get a lot of votes off of the never Trumpers, but you're not gonna. Yeah, I don't see how Biden does it. So Biden is going to get to a point where he's going to have to decide, does he want to save his political ambitions, or is he going to let Israel continue its operation in Rafah? I think they're going to let it go ahead, and I think that the Democrats are going to lose the election, or they're going to do something before the election so that they probably get us into a war, honestly. I've said it for a long time. I'm going to keep saying it until somebody else gets elected. The best way to confirm or, secure your reelection is being a wartime president. Getting into a war right before an election is the easiest way to get reelected, as long as it's semi-popular and there's like a casus belli around it. So I would fully expect something to happen in the next couple of months that will get us into some war somewhere, probably in an area where we're just going to shit kick some poor little country again. I don't think it's going to be Russia, but we'll see. I doubt that Trump will win. Well, you might be right, man. You might be right. I don't care. I don't think Trump is better. I just think that the Biden is horrible, dude. Biden can't even talk. I'd at least want somebody who could go shake hands with a foreign dignitary and talk to them, because Biden is not that person. I don't know who's running the country right now, because it's not Biden. There's no way. There's no way it's Biden. And I want to know at least who's running the country. Even if Trump gets elected, he's not going to get anything done. He's going to get, he's going to get stonewalled the whole time. So that doesn't matter. I don't know why people are so afraid of him getting elected. He literally will do exactly what he did in his first 4 years, which was nothing. He improved the economy a little bit. Scott, what the fuck happened with the radars? Total BS. Also, thanks for the work. No, I'm going to talk about that. That's coming up here, so I'm gonna get to that. I might actually talk about it right now because I'm kind of done with the map updates, so we'll get into that. Yeah, let's do that. Where is that article? Yeah, right here. See, I already had it ready to go. So we have this strike on a early warning radar. I want to actually talk about this and impress upon you guys what this means. So this has nothing to do with Ukraine at all, right? This has nothing to do with the situation in Ukraine at all, in the slightest. And I don't mean this was Ukraine. This was definitely Ukraine that did this, but this was not this radar does not affect any of the operation in Ukraine. It's an early warning radar for ballistic missiles, for like nuclear ballistic missiles, intercontinental. So don't. This is not something that directly affects Russia right now in the war. However, this does compromise Russia's nuclear triad. Right. This disables part of the early warning radar, which creates a blind spot. I want to impress another thing upon you guys. This is in the calculus. These are meant to get hit at some point, right? You don't want them to get hit, but if one gets hit, there is a backup that covers the same area, right? That's not just like if one gets hit, the whole system's down and you have a massive blind spot. This is still a very big deal. This is a major deal. This is the equivalent of striking. I mean, this is the same as striking an ICBM tube outside. There's no nuclear implications with this directly. No risk of a nuclear event happening because of this. Now, indirectly, you could get an escalation that leads to a nuclear event, or this could be preemptive for a first strike, which makes it extremely dangerous. I don't know. I can't put my finger on why this is happening or what is the reason for this. Russia has the dead man's hand, right? The dead man switch. If they get hit by nukes, if a nuclear event is detected on Russia and nobody can press the button, those missiles will launch. They have nuclear subs. There's mutually assured destruction for a reason. All of this has been war gamed already. So this doesn't really affect anything. I think what Ukraine is attempting to do with these strikes is bait Russia into doing something dramatic. This is the easiest, most stationary target. It's huge. It's very sensitive. You get a drone in there, you're going to do damage, right? It's very, very sensitive equipment. And it is the threshold for a nuclear response from Russia, or at least the threshold for escalation, definitely. So the Ukrainians have struck this radar, and they have also talked about striking this. Oh, wait, this is the same. Hold on, I have another article. They talked about striking. Where is it? Right here. This radar as well, which is another early warning radar. I do not think this is NATO. Guys, I have said the whole time that I think that we are in World War III, right? I absolutely believe that this is we are in the beginning stages of World War III. We will look back on this in the future and say this is where World War III started. I would like to remind you that nobody in Poland in 1939 thought that they were at the epicenter of World War II, right? Nobody thought that. Nobody thought the invasion of Manchuria by Japan was the beginning of World War II. If you want to go that way, right? The war in Asia started there. So wherever you want to say that, those people did not think that they were at the epicenter of a global conflict. They didn't. That's not what they thought was happening at the time. And just like you're going to be watching events unfold, you're going to watch events unfold outside of Ukraine and other areas of the world, and you're going to be looking at it and you're going to be going, oh, this is just a random event. Oh, this is just a random event. Oh, this is, this, that, or they might be connected, but what you're really watching is the chess pieces being moved. It's the opening salvos of World War III, where everybody's getting their pieces positioned around the board. The pawns are taking a 2-jump, whatever. Everybody's getting set up, planning your defenses, planning your attacks. That's what we're watching right now. That the U.S. is like already committing to this. You can already see it in the way that they're prepping Taiwan. They're getting that whole mess ready, probably to get into another sanction war. Same exact methodology they had with Russia, except it didn't work with Russia. So they're going to do the exact same thing. They do not adapt. They do not change their They think that when you think that you are superior, you believe that that the same thing will work again. So they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to. I think what is going to happen is they're going to bait China into invading Taiwan, or doing something economically suffocating Taiwan until an agreement is breached or something like that, and that will be the casus belli for a sanctions war against China. And then you have drawn the lines in the sand. At this point, you're not pulling Russia away from China. That's what they're still trying to do with this war in Ukraine. It's not going to happen. China and Russia are beyond allies now. They are. It is a much, much different beast. It is not just like trade commitments and stuff like no. They are an axis now. They are an alliance. They are what NATO is. It's the same exact thing. Estonia talking shit about Russia, about stopping Russia was amusing. Imagine Estonia starting it all would be funny, but way to go. Yeah, I'm actually going to talk about the Baltics and France here. Title of the thing. I'm not talking about it until 40 minutes in, but back to these radars real fast. I don't think this is NATO. I don't think that people should get the idea that this is. I don't think that the United States benefits from these attacks at all. I think it actually worsens the U.S.'s position. I think it makes it more difficult for the hardliners to get things passed, like the green light for Russia to use, or for Ukraine to use ATACMS and Storm Shadow, Scalp, whatever, on targets inside of Russia. These attacks are risky because you put the idea into everybody's head that the second you get the opportunity with those weapons, you are going to do something incredibly fucking stupid, and it's going to reflect on the United States. So I'm like 50-50. I've said already that I think that the green light has been given for the Ukrainians to use these weapons. That's why they're talking about it. I'm going to talk about the same thing with Macron and France here in a second. But I just want everybody to be very cautious in their thinking that this is some NATO. This was done with drones. The Ukraine could have completely done this themselves. I bet that they did. I don't think that the US is going to say, hey, go take out one of Russia's early warning radars. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. That's beyond. There's a lot of crazy stuff that has happened. Nord Stream was kind of crazy, but I mean, it wasn't really that big of a event outside of the economic implications and what it had done to Europe and Russia. I mean, it's major. It's huge. But this is so risky, and it yields no results. It doesn't yield any results. Are you going to nuke Russia? Are you going to nuke Russia? Because that's what a first strike on Russia would be the only thing that this would be used for. And if you first strike Russia, you're just going to get a salvo back and it's all over. So that doesn't make any sense. No, the only way you win a war against a superpower is by destroying them culturally, demographically, or economically. Those are the ways that you can, that's how you bring down an empire. That's how you bring down a hegemony. That's how you bring down a nuclear superpower these days. You cannot go into direct war. It doesn't work. It's proxy war, proxy war, proxy war, proxy war until somebody runs out of money or will. All right. I want to talk about the situation with the French. But we can talk about this real fast. So just something funny that kind of happened. Spain decided that they were going to give Zelensky €1 billion. I think it was 1.23 billion. Oh, wait, 1.08 billion euro aid package. Wait, is that dollars? Oh, 1 billion euros, 1.8 billion US. This includes 19 Leopard 2A4s, which Ukraine actually desperately needs. Unfortunately, if you read through this article, you will see a very important quote here about the Leopards. This is the wrong article. I'm sorry, guys. I think this is the wrong article. Yes, this is the wrong article. Okay. Anyway, Zelensky got, there's another Reuters article. I thought it was this one. I clicked it open. My bad. Where they discussed what was given. The 19 Leopard 2A4s are out of service. They are not in active service. And it said that they are going to need a thorough refurbishment. So expect those in 2026 or some shit. Nobody cares. That's nothing. So that is a huge chunk of this money. Nothing. They are also giving 12 Patriot missiles, not systems, not batteries, not launchers, not radars, 12 missiles. That's what Spain could rustle up for the old Ukrainians on this Zelensky trip. So very interesting. That would be 6 fires of the Patriot 12 missiles. You usually fire 2 missiles per target you're attempting to engage. So yeah, that is a waste of a fucking trip right there. Yeah, only 12. I know, shocking, right? Almost like you shouldn't say it out loud because it's so insignificant and sad. Yeah, so 19 Leopards that aren't ready and won't be ready for probably a year, and 12 missiles that have probably already been fired, honestly. All right, so over to the Estonia. We had this question. Estonia talking shit about stomping Russia was amusing. Imagine Estonia starting it all would be funny, but a way to go. Yeah, the barking chihuahuas that actually go up and bite the pit bull, and then that would be funny. I agree. There is a certain level of comedy to all of that. Specifically, though, what I wanted to talk about when it came to the Baltics and their recent statements regarding sending troops to Ukraine. Along with French President Emmanuel Macron saying the same thing a couple months ago, about 2 months ago. I really do believe that this is sort of preparing the public. I think that they often make decisions months in advance. These things take time, logistics that surround these things. I do believe that the French are planning on sending advisors. Zelensky and Syrsky, the Ukrainian government today, openly invited French advisors to begin training in country. I think that this is it's an idea. Listen, it is a specific choice. I don't know who you're going to get to go advise in Ukraine. I guess if you pay enough, people will go. But these people should be the highest priority target in Ukraine at any given time. This is the red line that you enforce. The radars, it sucks. It's again, it's like the ATACMS strikes. There's going to be these hits. You're going to take these hits, and the Russians are just going to continue to shrug them off because escalation does not suit them in this situation. They want to win the war. They don't need to prove how manly they are. They don't need to prove that they're strong. No, they'll do that in time. They'll win the war. They'll just write history after they've won, right? So you don't need to worry about that S-300 battery or that S-400 battery that was lost in 2023 or 2024, when in 2026 you have everything up to the Dnieper River and it doesn't matter, right? So I think that the West is getting extremely desperate. I think that they're running out of options. Obviously, with these last aid packages, it's been abysmal what they've been putting together to deliver to Ukraine. Most of that aid is going back into the military-industrial complex, the U.S. military-industrial complex, so it doesn't matter. I think that the Western partners, particularly Europe, because they're the ones that are going to be left holding the bag, like I've said, are now starting to get very, 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 very worried. Britain isn't as worried. The United States isn't as worried, but Germany's worried, and they're approaching it in a different way. France is worried, and they're approaching it in the way that the Baltics are, with a more confrontational and aggressive posture. Do I believe that we will see French advisors in Ukraine? They're probably already there, guys. They're probably already training. And like I said, I think that these should be the highest priority target. Send a very clear message to everybody in NATO that if anybody comes to Ukraine operating through NATO or on behalf of NATO or on behalf of the Ukrainian government in training troops and stuff like that, that these people are the highest priority targets and they will be removed from the battlefield immediately. This is the line that you hold. You don't go all nuclear because of the radars. Those are attacks that are meant to provoke you. That's what those are meant to do. this might be meant to provoke Russia, but I think that this is the message that will be the most vitriol. This is the message that will wake up people in Europe to what the hell is going on in Ukraine, the real reality. When you see 10 advisors from the French Foreign Legion that were killed in a strike, and you're French, and you're like, why the hell do we, or why do we have French boys over there dying like this? That's going to be the wake-up call. Estonia, what are they going to send their one troop that they had participating in the Red Sea exercises, like what, or Red Sea operation? Like what are they going to do? Estonia is nothing. Latvia is nothing. Lithuania is nothing. They're tripwires. That's what they are. Outside of that, nothing. So that's all just yippity yap. Oh man. How many Patriot missiles do they need to intercept one Kinjal? Almost intercept, I mean. Yeah. Oh, actually, that reminds me. I wanted to talk about the recent missile strike. And we actually got some satellite photos. They're very blurry because, of course, they are. But we got some satellite photos, and I wanted to show you guys, and I don't know where they're at. Hold on. Sorry, I should have had this ready to go. Very unprofessional by myself. I am very sorry that I failed you guys so significantly. La-da-do, la-da-da. Where is it? Where the hell is it? Where is it? Did I not retweet it? Oh, wait. No, there it is. Okay. It looked different. All right, hold on. Do you believe the LNR and DPR will start a hunting party in Lvov for Bandera rights, or will they? No, they'll probably never reach Lvov. Lvov will either become the new capital of Ukraine or will just be absorbed into Poland. Yeah, no, there's no, the Russians don't want Lvov. They don't want to deal with the people there. I wouldn't either. So there will likely be, I don't know DPR, LPR, but there will be Russian hit squads that go after specific individuals who committed crimes during the war. Much like that Russian traitor who flew the helicopter into Ukraine and got the crew killed, and he got hit in Spain. He got rocked. I think his head was almost taken off with how many bullets they put into the back of his head. Sent a message. All right. Let me go over to the strike. So there was a strike on the Statrokrastenteniv, I don't know, boys, air base in Klimitsky Oblast. I'll show you guys where that is actually real fast, just so you can have a visual for the map. All right, so Klimitsky. Here's this airbase right here. So this is the airbase that was struck. You can see that there are decommissioned aircraft at this base. This is actually, these might be commissioned aircraft. These are Su-24s. This is the Su-24 base. Although these satellite photos are old, some of these planes are definitely not operational. Some of them are. There were missile strikes in multiple different areas. I believe that here, I'll actually just take us over and I'll look at the pictures so we can actually see what was hit. The resolution is very low. I actually went on and I tried to find, because I want to buy satellite photos. I want to buy high resolution satellite photos, but I have not been able to get access from any of the companies. And apparently it's almost impossible to get high resolution satellite photos over Ukraine. So yeah, they control the information. Oh, well, here's the base we just looked at. You can see it's just from a different angle. And here you can see the base on, let's see. You can see impacts, possible impact spots on the base. Let's see. Goodness gracious. Oh, right here. This is the one I was looking for. So here's the before. You can see how low resolution this is. Fantastic. We love it. Cheap satellites. There is a color alteration here, which means that there was likely an impact here, 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 and here. So if we go back over to the map, we can look at that in high resolution, and you can kind of see what was hit. There was a hit here. So this covered shelter right here is likely destroyed. Could have been housing Su-24s. We don't know. There was a hit right here where planes are probably sat, maybe a small building, something like that in that area. I'm not sure. We had a hit here. Again, no idea what was hit, what planes. This is an old photo, so these planes are not here anymore. They've been moved. And then there was a hit on this building, I believe, right here. Hold on, let me. A hit on, yeah, this building right here, I believe. So this building got hit. This covered shelter got hit. This area up here got hit where a plane could have been staged. An area was hit right here. And then there were a couple more possible hits, I believe. But all in all, that would mean that the Russians hit with at least 4 munitions. The Ukrainians claim that they intercepted all cruise missiles and only 2 Kinjals got through. I don't know if these are drone strikes, potentially, the black marks on the runway. I'm not 100%, but this is not, yeah, so there's that area up there that was hit where I talked about potentially an aircraft being positioned. And then, yeah, right here. And then the other location is the Hardin facility. This building right here was targeted. And yeah, again, this area. I thought it was the building. Maybe it was the planes, the staging area for the planes. And then lastly, my God, these satellite photos are just dog water, dude. That's so bad. Can't even see what's going on. I hate some aspects of the world we live in. The fact that I can't go on, that people can go on and see S-400 batteries blown up in Crimea anytime they want. But I want to buy satellite photos of this airbase, and I can get what 10? It's like what 480p. Can't see shit. It's like my internet connection is horrible, and I'm just trying to like use Google Maps. I'm trying to see what's going on. All right, guys. Thank you so much for checking in today. I will be back tomorrow. I am good now. I am settled. I had family stuff this weekend. I don't know if you guys can see, but I got toasty burnt. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, I got you. Don't worry. White boy burnt. So we'll be enjoying it. I am back now. Expect that demonetized video up on Patreon tomorrow sometime. I'm going to get it filmed later on tonight. And other than that, follow me, like, subscribe, guys, share this, talk to your friends about me. No, don't do that. Don't do that. This is Autism Town. We don't invite people in here. We don't tell people about what we do in our spare time. We lock this shit down, and then we go out and we go to the gym and we be normal in the real world. All right. Love you guys. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, probably 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, back to the normal time. I did it later today because I did not feel like doing it at 12. I was tired. So everybody take care. Please be safe. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a great night.